Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis. Pleased to be joined by the coach, former high school football coach at Vernon, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. Also played college football at Abilene Christian. Coached there for multiple stints, and also was on the University of Texas football coaching staff for multiple head coaches. And now you can catch his work at ShipleyRanches.com. Go check it out. It's Coach Bob Shipley. Coach, how you doing?
Good. What's up, Rod?
Doing great, Coach. Texas OU week. Can't ask for anything better. Longhorns are #1 ranked team in the land. It don't get better than that. Also, it don't get better than my friends over at MyBookie. This episode of our of On Texas Football and on Football Theory brought to you by our good friends at MyBookie. Make sure you're in the game with MyBookie. You can play any matchup, hundreds of college player props, and more. Go check it out at mybookie.ag. We'll tell you a little bit more about them in just a second. But, Coach, I figured we talk Texas OU. Why not? We'll just kind of spitball a little bit about what we think is going to happen in this game. Big games, teams tend to break tendency in big games to win it because there's a lot of over preparation, if you will. It's such an important game. Usually coaches are dialed in to the tendencies and the strengths and the weaknesses of certain teams, and coaches want to use that as misinformation, so they'll break tendency at the right time. In big games is when you do it, and also when you got time to come up with new, exotic, creative concepts. Usually after a bye week, both teams had a bye week, and this is a big game for both teams, so I imagine we'll see some new wrinkles that we haven't seen from both sides, maybe some new concepts from both sides, trying to make sure they get the upper hand. So we'll get into what those could be here on this edition of Football Theory. But before we get started, let's thank our good friends over at MyBookie. With all the excitement of this season, make sure you're in the game with MyBookie. Bet any matchup, hundreds of college player props, and take advantage of weekly risk-free bets. The best part is you can do it all anytime, anywhere you want to, straight from your phone. Visit mybookie.ag and use the promo code ONTexas to get started. It's really easy. MyBookie's also celebrating their 10th anniversary, and they're rolling out the red carpet for all of you out there. Bet big and bet confident with risk-free Thursdays. If your boosted bet doesn't hit, you'll get all your money back. Weekly, no sweat, win-win bets all season long. You cannot beat that, folks. And sign up right now. Use the code ONTexas, and you'll cash in on a double deposit bonus. It's a no-brainer. You're going to double the cash in your account before you even place your first bet. But you don't have to wait, and you shouldn't wait because it's only for a limited time only. So take advantage of this great deal. Use the code ONTexas to cash in on that double deposit bonus. For those of you who've been playing with MyBookie, they've got something for you as well. A brand new loyalty rewards program in MyBookie Plus. It's simple. The more you play, the more you earn. And as you progress through the tiers, you'll unlock exclusive promotions, epic giveaways, and cash back in your accounts. That's mybookie.ag, and that's MyBookie Plus. All right, Coach, let's get right to it. One of the things that's always stood out, that our conversations, I learned so much from them, but one of the things that you've stood out in one of your kind of coaching principles has always been, hey, let's jump out early. Let's jump on their throat early. Let's take the ball and let's go try to, dictate the terms of this matchup. Coaches usually don't do that. Even they win the toss, a lot of coaches defer. You said you're in the minority there, and it's a great lesson. I'm with you, and I love that you have that hot take about it. Sark, we've seen Sark do that once this year in that Michigan game. So, and he said it for different reasons, by the way. He was not quoting Coach Shipley about being aggressive. He said it was because of the weather. And he
didn't quote me or anything?
He didn't quote you, Coach, but I think he was feeling you. I think you were kindred spirit. Because I think he was thinking what you were thinking. You said that Michigan game, you said, if I wanted to toss, I would take the ball and jump out on Michigan. And that way they got to play our style of game. I think it may apply here too. I wonder if we see Sark, I don't know what reason he would give. If he wins the toss in this game, why not take the football and jump out early? Would you ever think you do that in this game? Now, that Michigan defense was really good. You were on the road there. That was a lot of reasons to defer to the second half. He did not. What are your thoughts about this? I know how you feel. How do you think Sark's going to feel about it?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, just going back a little bit, one of the things that makes this game so exciting, and y'all have to bear with me, I've got some allergies on top of some hiccups. Bad combination. Anyway, the thing that intrigues me about this game, and I think is going to make it so fun, is you've got Brent Venables, a defensive-minded head coach, and you've got Steve Sarkisian, an offensive-minded head coach. Both of them are the top echelon in the country at what they do. And, you know, we talk about this before. They don't think for a second that Brent Venables is just going to run out the same old standard Oklahoma defense that he's been running the first 4 or 5 games and just let the chips fall where they may. And Sark dang sure ain't just going to roll out with the same old offense we've been seeing. You know, I mean, there's going to be some really interesting things that we're going to see offensively and defensively. Do you remember was it last year Sark started off, we threw early, they jumped the route and picked it off.
Yep.
I believe that's right. You can't have that happen. And that's always a possibility because he had never seen Venables he had not seen Venables do that. So they're both going to be its chess match, you know. And then, of course, you know, PK is not going to sit there. He's going to have new looks. Luttrell is going to have new looks. And so we're going to see some stuff by both teams that we haven't seen before. And to me, it's like Christmas, you know. Oprah, what do we got? What have those coaches been working on the last 2 weeks? You know, this is what they've been working on. And just see who comes up with the most effective weapons. And I think the most interesting matchup, talent-wise, is the UT offense against the OU defense.
No doubt.
I think that that's truly will be a chess match. The Texas defense against the Oklahoma offense, I think, obviously has a lot of things going in its favor so far up to this season. But again, don't think OU is going to sit there and try to do the same thing they've always done. They're going to show us new looks, new blocking angles, new motion shifts. They're going to throw everything at us in the kitchen sink. But because no matter what they've done up to this point, the things they've done maybe that haven't been good will be totally erased if they beat Texas. The first time in 40-something years, Texas has come into this OU matchup ranked number 1. So
yes,
things haven't always gone well. Last year they didn't go well for Oklahoma, but it was certainly their season was somewhat saved by being able to come back and beat Texas. Same thing will be true this year. Even more so the fact that Texas is number 1. So there's so much riding on this. Both coaching staffs are going to put everything into this because, you know, if you don't win this game, then sure put a lot of pressure on yourself the next week against Georgia.
Yeah, Coach, I totally agree with you. And let's start with where you said the most compelling matchup is that Texas offense, all the talent and the Sark's brilliance as a play designer and play caller, and then going up against Venables, who's equally as brilliant defensively. And then he's got some guys that will be playing on Sunday. Stutzman is a stud. Billy Bowman is one of the best safeties in the country. That guy, maybe the best ball hawking safety in the country. He's in that conversation. I think one of the things we may see Texas do on offense, in addition to scoring first, and first off, taking the ball to score first, because that stat always stands out. 65% of teams at the NFL and the college level that score first, they win the game. So get the ball if you can and score first. But aside from that, throwing it, the deep ball against Oklahoma's defense is legit. They are top 5 in takeaways. Actually, I think they're 3rd in takeaways. They're top 5. You look at top 10 in sacks. They're top 15 in tackles for loss. And this is a team they feed off havoc plays. So there's no doubt about that. But one thing they have shown some vulnerability with is the deep ball. The deep ball specifically against Power 5 quarterbacks. Now, they've played 3 Power 5 teams, and they've allowed opposing quarterbacks to complete over 65% of their deep balls for Power 5 quarterbacks to complete over 65% of their deep balls. That is a really high number. 4 touchdowns they've given up, 27 yards per attempt. They don't usually give up a lot of plays, period. But they've given up a lot of deep balls. And I wonder with Quinn, and Quinn hasn't thrown deep ball. Arch likes the deep ball. Arch came in there. Arch was throwing the deep ball at a 20% rate. I mean, that's 20% of his passes. He was chunking. He likes it. Chicks dig the long ball, and so does Arch. But Quinn, Quinn was a lot more conservative in his approach, getting rid of the football on time, rhythmic thrower. We know the short intermediate area is where he's an assassin. I do wonder in this game if Texas won their tendency breakers because of all the speed they have on offense. It's not necessarily something Quinn has relied heavily on, but this Oklahoma defense doesn't have a lot of holes. One of them is completing passes 20 yards or more down the field. That's something I'm sure Sark has looked at. They've given up a lot of big plays via the air on the vertical pass over the first 5 weeks of the season. That's something to watch.
Yeah, it is, and it's something that we're doing better at. We've certainly got some speed, and I think that's certainly in the game plan. I just hope it's not on first down. Where we get ourselves behind the stick on second and 10. That's the main thing we've got to do. And on the other side of the ball, to me, Oklahoma, you just have to move the change. You just have to get first downs. You've got to keep your defense off the field and not worry about explosive plays, not worry about, even hopefully the result of the drive for them will be points, but get first downs. Just move the change, keep the ball away from Texas offense. And I think that will frustrate the Texas offense and coaching staff some. But anyway, there's a lot of fun things here going on in this matchup. A lot of inside the scenes stuff with certainly with players that know each other. Billy Bowman, we recruited him when I was on staff. He was committed to us, and so I think he was Denton Ryan. Is that right? Yeah.
He was JT Sanders' teammate, wasn't
he? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So there's a lot of great stories, and like I always say, there's going to be somebody that's going to come through in this game that we don't. That nobody in their wildest dreams not wildest dreams, but nobody would pick as being a guy that's going to come through and make that DeJay return or that Stoney stop on the goal line, or that Jordan return or Wayne McGarry. I mean, there's just so many of them, and those guys will always be remembered for that. And this is an opportunity for a new bunch of guys to leave a legacy for their self and overcome a really, really bad taste in their mouth from last year.
Yeah, you're right. You want to be a legend, make a big play in this game. You will become a legend overnight. They'll have these.
Almost happened to you.
Almost, Coach. I was that close. That close.
It did happen. It did happen.
We didn't win. I can't celebrate it, Coach. We didn't win. We didn't win. Oh, man, that one hurts right there. That would hurt, but that's because Jordan made one of them plays. Jordan made that play. I was talking to Fozzie today. He was talking about, he said in 2008, guys, he said, honestly, remember when Jordan makes that play? Texas is not in control of that game.
No.
Texas is not in control of that game. Oklahoma is actually in control of that game at the time. They had went down and scored, I believe.
I think we were down two touchdowns when that happened.
Yeah. That's what Bobby said. And even after the return, Texas isn't up, but he said that we felt like we were up. He said he had snatched back the momentum. He said Jordan gave us all of our confidence back, our mojo back. He said we had lost it a little bit. And that's what happens in that game. One team can monopolize the momentum, and you need somebody. And that's why, Coach, veteran players are so important in this game, because veteran players understand that. Veteran players understand you better answer. Either you need to go out there and make a play, or the defense needs to make a play, or somebody's got to go out there and answer. Because if you don't answer and you allow them to continue to make plays and monopolize the momentum, you can get steamrolled pretty easily. It can turn on you real fast. It turned on Sark in 2021. The momentum shifted, and I think that's when Sark learned, okay, I got to answer. I cannot allow 3-4 big plays to go by and allow them to just snatch the momentum and have a stranglehold of it for too long. It's a boxing match. So when they land a big one, all right, take it, gather yourself, and get ready to land your own haymaker. Because if you don't, they're gonna keep on landing haymakers on you. And then that's
the thing
what it's about.
And the fans just compounded the momentum because when Jordan returned that kickoff back, it was deafening in there. I mean, deafening. And that's, back in the fan-free COVID game, that wasn't the case,
Yep, the sound.
Really weird.
Sound. Right.
Yeah, really, really weird. But the fans can really boost your momentum because of the way that you getting into the crowd or the way that the opposing team's crowd is getting to you. I saw Colt. I was sitting right there. Colt McCoy's mother was sitting beside my wife, and she was sitting right on the 50-yard line, right on the dividing line. Wow. And Colt was a freshman, and she made a rookie freshman mom mistake. She wore his jersey to the OU game, and she sat right on. I mean, she was the last seat by OU, and Brad and I. It actually moved up a couple of rows. We were kind of by ourselves, but there was some guy that was unmercifully dogging her, and she never went back to a Texas OU game after that.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, wow. It's probably a good thing Coach McCoy and I didn't hear what was going on.
Because y'all might have stepped in.
We might not have been coming back to any more OU Texas games either.
They got y'all a picture up. Don't let these dudes in the stadium.
Yeah. There's a fight broke out.
Coach, that is part of it, though. I tell players all the time. I said, you have to go back as a fan for the players who are on the field because it's different. We understood how hostile. We used to come out of that tunnel at the same time back then. Now they don't allow you to do that because they know how crazy it could get. Come out of that tunnel at the same time in the midst of OU fans. I mean, they're talking about an emotionally charged environment. So it was always, you knew the rules of engagement. As soon as you stepped out, you knew like, hey, it don't get no more hostile than this. Get your mind right, get ready. But the fans, when I went back as a fan, I didn't realize fans also are dealing with that hostility with OU fans. If you come out the night before, you make sure you that's why you want to be around friendly confines. You want to be around other Longhorn fans. You want to get lost in somewhere, part of town where there's a lot of Sooners, and then have Sooners talking crazy to you and your family. A lot of fans I've talked to, they said, I've almost ended up in fights or had fights down there. And I myself went back, and there have been altercations, never a fight, altercations with Sooners who are just trying to push your buttons. So it's the fans who go through it too, man. I didn't realize that until I went back. And I told the players, go back and experience and see what our fans go through. Because
2013, I was a defensive analyst. I was in the press box, and we came down at halftime. It's not separate. You have to go into the fairgrounds to get to the locker room from the press box.
Crazy.
And so they had a cop in front of us and a cop behind us, and we were running. We were jogging through there, and they had it roped off. And we were going. I'm right behind Major, and I look up there, and I could see a couple of OU fans up there, and I could see this lady get this look on her face, and she had a styrofoam cup, and I saw her raise that thing back like this, and then she went like that and threw it all over Major's face. It was a mixed drink, just belted him, man. And I mean, Major put a foot in the ground like a DB, and he went back, and I grabbed him. I said, no, we can't do it. No.
You want to be a head coach one day. You can't do it.
It was fixing to be on right there. I said, no, not today. Not today. And so thankfully the officer behind us took care of him and got him out of the stadium. But it doesn't, I mean, there's nobody that's immune to a little Red River rivalry hatred.
Oh man. Yeah, you're right about that, Coach. That is a great story. See, I'm glad we went off the rails. To hell with the football theory. This is about Texas OU stories. That is a great one, Coach. I'm not gonna top that. I was going to say, getting back to it, because I'm with you, the momentum shifts are big. That's why I think you may see certain dialed up calls that Sark has ready to go to answer those momentum calls. Because we saw that last year, the fake, the trick plays and the fakes. I wouldn't doubt if Sark had some specific calls dialed up ready to snatch back momentum if need be in this game. Just throwing it out there. So good stuff, Coach. Good story. Okay, something else. As I said, I think Texas is going to throw the ball deep a little bit more just because that's something that Oklahoma defense is vulnerable with. Something we haven't seen all season. I'm just going to throw it out there that we may see it versus Oklahoma. We have not seen the Big 11, Big 12 package, a 6-0 line package. One of the benefits of the 6-0 line package is it gives you more pass protection. You got one of the national leaders in sacks. The Oklahoma Sooners, you put in that extra offensive lineman. It was Malik Agbo. We haven't seen it this season. Last year, you averaged over 11 and a half yards per attempt throwing the football out of that Big 11, Big 12 package with the extra offensive lineman. It insulates you in pass protection. You could run out of it if you want to play bully ball, but Sark prefers to throw the ball deep out of it. Throwing it out there too, it would be a tendency breaker because we haven't seen it really on film so far this year. That's something to keep in mind. Also, Coach, we've seen these reverses work really well for Texas, right? The end and arounds for the receivers. One of Sark's staples the last few years has been that double pass. You remember the double pass you see a lot because he loved Xavier Worthy throwing the double pass. Something tells me we may see something freaky with either a reverse pass or a double pass in this game. I'm gonna throw it because you said this is where you pull out all the stuff. We haven't seen Sark hasn't broken out a trick play this year, have we?
No, I don't think so. I don't like the double pass particularly, although I think the last time we played the Aggies, Jackson threw a touchdown pass to Blaine Irby.
Yeah, there you go. It works. Come on, man.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah, that time. But he said he was a whole lot better in college and high school. He threw three passes in high school and 2 interceptions. No completions. But they had, who was the guy's name? Brian Harsin came in.
Brian Harsin, yeah.
Yeah, and really was Jackson's freshman year. So he was throwing all kinds of fun stuff out there. Remember, he would do the Statue of Liberty when he was at Boise.
Yeah.
The dude proposes to his wife, the cheerleader in the end zone, all that stuff. You know, when they beat OU. I mean, it's a fun game, but I'm not big on the double passes, but I am big with some type of misdirection with the ball in Silas Bolden's hands.
How about either a double pass, reverse pass, or double reverse? Because we've been working, the reverse has been working really good. So maybe that's some change of direction.
It sure has. Well, and the speed is, I mean, just that much more speed makes the difference on those reverses to get around the corner.
It does.
I mean, it really does.
Another thing I'll throw out there offensively, we haven't seen it, but I predicted it, so I'll throw it out there. It's a tendency breaker. I wonder if you'll see another personnel grouping like the red package Sark used to Alabama when he puts 4 wide receivers on the field. It would be something Texas has not shown, and I predicted we would see it this year, maybe a little bit. Maybe it's something we sprinkle in for that Texas OU game as a tendency breaker, something that Brent Venables has not seen on film. All right, flip to the defensive side of the ball before we wrap things up, Coach.
What about I want to get your thoughts about the pony package this week. What do you think about that?
I would love it, Coach, if we break it out. My only concern is that I wonder if it is after a bye week, though, and so you're fresher than you've been in a long time at the running back position. You've been trying to play catch up in terms of managing the injuries there. So, Coach, you might be on to something. It is your most explosive, your most effective, and your most efficient personnel grouping. And now you actually do have healthy backs to help you execute it. Coach, I'm with you. I love it. I love that idea. I don't know if you could do it all season long just because of the injuries, but after a bye week, sounds like the perfect time to break it out. Guys are fresh, and you're deep right now at that position because Spoon, Trey Wisner, and Jaden Blue are perfectly healthy after the bye week, and you got other Jarrett Gibson you can throw in that mix too. Ryan Niblett is another guy I guess you can kind of sprinkle in there as well. I love it, Coach. I hope that's the case. All right, good stuff. Let's jump to the defense side of the ball. I don't have much defensively because Johnny Nansen and the correct creative collaboration with PK. I mean, they've been throwing out new stuff all season long, really. I'd expect them to do what they've been doing. We saw the NASCAR dime package. We've seen the 3 high safety. We've seen inverted Tampa 2 coverage. We've seen them put the edge rushers over the B gap against Mississippi State and put the tackles on the outside of it. They've done some really creative things, really exciting following this. collaboration with PK and Johnny Nansen. So one thing I'll throw out there with Michael Hawkins, he's a really mobile quarterback, dynamic player, not necessarily a good pocket passer yet, but he's a dynamic athlete. You do have to worry about him just making plays, making something out of nothing, improvising. I wonder if they will blitz him a little more than in passing situations, of course. If they will blitz him a little more than Johnny Nansen has blitzed other quarterbacks, just because he's such a dynamic dual threat. Maybe you're trying to flush him and force him into certain situations. He's young, inexperienced. Instead of allowing him, because that's how he got the 50-yard run against Auburn. He dropped back the pass. He didn't see anything, coach. Decided to scramble. Didn't see a spy. He gone. All right. So I think, number one, you'll see a lot of creative ways to spy him in pass situation. But I wouldn't doubt if they're blitzing him and they blitz him from a certain side and they want to either force him to a Colin Simmons, force him to one of to the pressure, or just force him to a side he's uncomfortable throwing from.
Sure. Flush him to his left.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. I think, not everybody has a Caleb Williams on the sideline that they can trot out there and take it to the house like on his first play. But I love the spy idea. I mean, I just feel like that if you've got a quarterback that's elusive, maybe not right off the bat, but if he's hurting you, running the ball, bringing the ball down and just running it, I think be smart to have a spy package in your game plans somehow to contain that, because especially if the receivers are all running downfield, it could give them a lot of grass, open area. But I also wonder if we're going to do some different things with Colin Simmons that they haven't seen, putting him in some situations to get to the passer that OU has not seen.
That honestly, I'm all with that. I mean, last week actually was something new. Putting those edge rushers over the B gap was a little something new that we haven't seen. Sometimes they would rush, sometimes they would drop, sometimes you would see them as a spy because those Mississippi State quarterbacks were mobile. So I'm with you, Coach, and we've seen them use him almost as a sandbacker at times instead of just a natural edge rusher. I'm with you. I don't think they want him to be pigeonholed just yet. You would think they just let him rush in passing situations, but they use them, I think, in a lot of in multiple ways, which I like.
I wonder sometimes if they're doing it just to get it on film.
Disguise
just them go, golly, they'll put this guy anywhere, and so here's the OC trying to line coach, they're trying to break down all the ways they're going to try to block him. If he's here, we got to do this. If he's there, we got to do that. And he may not be playing any of that, but it's still one of those ways when you've got explosive players who are young and the opponent doesn't know exactly how you're going to use him week in and week out. And so they've got to prepare for that. And they better know where he's lined up every snap.
I was going to say, you better account for that dude. If you don't, man, he gone in a flash. He'll be by you quick. All right. Good stuff there, Coach. Before we get out of here, let's thank our sponsor once again, our good friends at mybookie.ag. With all the excitement of this season, make sure you're in the game with MyBookie. Bet any matchup, hundreds of college player props, and take advantage of weekly risk-free bets. The best part is you can do it all anytime, anywhere from your phone. Visit mybookie.ag. Use the promo code ONTexas to get started. It's their 10-year anniversary, so they're rolling out the red carpet for all you bettors out there. You can bet big and bet confidently with risk-free Thursdays. If your boosted bet doesn't win and doesn't hit, you'll get your money back weekly. No sweat. Win-win bets all season long. And sign up right now using the code ONTexas, and you'll cash in on a double deposit bonus. It's a no-brainer. Double the cash in your account before you even place your first bet. But don't wait, because you can only get it for a limited time only. And for those of you who have been betting with MyBookie for years, they got something for you too. A brand new loyalty rewards program in MyBookie Plus. It's simple. The more you play, the more you earn. And as you progress through the tiers, unlock exclusive promotions, epic giveaways, and cash back in your account. That's mybookie.ag and MyBookie Plus. All right, Coach, thank you very much for all the wisdom. As usual, I'm a smarter football theorist because of you. Thanks to Matthew behind the scenes doing a great job. Thank you to all you guys out there for watching and listening. Thank you to our good friends over at MyBookie for sponsoring this segment of On Texas Football and Football Theory. And until next time, and don't forget, whatever time it is, OU sucks. And until next time, hook 'em horns.